How do you go about making your farm product or service so desirable that people cannot wait to get their hands on it? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to share one strategy that works wonders. And actually, the way I'm going to share it with you is by giving you an update on my quest to find a massage therapist. Yes, this case study has a marketing nugget inside of it, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's get started. Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show. Well, welcome to episode 238 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I am your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers like you get more confident and savvy in your marketing and sales strategy so that you can grow a profitable business online. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. If you're one of my regular listeners, big shout out to you. I'm glad you're here today. And if you're new, I am so glad you are checking this out. And I hope that you get a ton of value from this episode. Make sure you go and subscribe to the podcast and go check out some of my back issues. I have over 200 of them, and just scroll through and see what's jumping out at you. I always like to tell people who are brand new to the show or really brand new to marketing in general that you should probably go start with the first 10 episodes, because I did design those for farmers way back when I first started this podcast. I was intentional about how I built those first 10 out so that I could direct people in the future to go back and listen to them, kind of like a 101 crash course. So you can start there. Another great place to go is to sign up for my email list, because when you do, I'm going to drip out to you over email a weekly tip, basically a curated collection of resources, tips, people you should follow, marketing principles, step by step, to kind of give you a crash course in marketing. So you can go and subscribe to that list by heading to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. Today's podcast is sponsored by my friends at LocalLine. Is it time to upgrade your e-commerce platform this winter? I have just the solution for you. If you're still using generic e-commerce like Shopify or Squarespace for your farm sales, it's time to start using LocalLine. LocalLine is the all-in-one sales solution for farms and food hubs. We have been using LocalLine as our e-commerce of choice for over 4 years, and we love it. We couldn't be happier with it. The team is constantly updating and releasing new features, such as subscriptions functionality, a low-cost website builder, customizable storefront, and integrations with tons of marketing and sales apps, such as ConvertKit, MailChimp, TextMagic. Unlike other farm e-commerce options, LocalLine is also, I think, very affordable with no additional sales fees or hidden percentages. And they also offer high impact, low cost marketing services now for farmers. So you can have LocalLine write your email newsletter and run your Facebook ads or create your social media calendar, all at a very affordable price point. For my podcast listeners, LocalLine is offering a free premium feature for 1 whole year when you sign up for LocalLine using my coupon code. So head to mydigitalfarmer.com/LocalLine and then enter the coupon code MDF2023. Maybe just ask for a demo. That could be your first step. I highly recommend them. And now back to the show. Happy Thanksgiving to all of my farmer friends who live in the United States. We'll be celebrating that here in a few days. We're going to be heading to the Maumee Bay Valley Conference Center, which is on Lake Erie, and I'm super excited about it. This is an annual tradition for us as a family. We meet up with the bench side and the hillside And we hang out at this lodge for 3 days, eat lots of food, play with cousins, watch the big game, and play a lot of board games and go swimming. It's fun. Looking forward to it. In other news, my microphone just broke for the podcast. Like the stand just broke. So I'm having to hold it up to my face. This is a little awkward. So if it sounds different, that's why. But I've got a lot going on in the next few weeks. Accelerators have just finished up their November project or are finishing it up, and it's a really good one. One of the groups is working on the project of build a better offer. So we've been practicing every week doing a different type of offer to our list, playing around with how offers can be built. And then the new cohort is working on our email nurture sequence. We've been crafting that, building that, and really good stuff coming out of that. So I'm having fun with that. This coming December, I want to make sure those of you who are CSA farmer wannabes, or you're thinking about starting a CSA, I want to invite you to join me in my CSA Startup Challenge that I will be running December 4th through the 8th of 2023. So if you're listening to this in the future, you can go back and participate in it in the replay. But if you need some help getting your first CSA up and running, there is a lot to think about, and I can help you. I would like to help you. So sign up for this 5-day startup challenge. Go to mydigitalfarmer.com/CSA startup. And I'm going to guide you step by step through the key planning decisions that you need to make for your CSA before you start seeding anything in the greenhouse. So this is for vegetable CSA farmers. Subscribe to the challenge by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/CSA startup. And you're going to receive a short video tutorial from me, one per day for 5 days in a row. There's going to be a daily homework assignment. It's going to come right to your inbox. And like I said, the fun starts on December 4th. So if you subscribe before that date, the first video will drop for you on the 4th, and then it'll go through that whole first week. At the end of the challenge, I am going to give you the opportunity to learn about my CSA Quick Start program and how you can take that class, that course, to learn the very step-by-step minutia of how to get a great CSA up and running. But if you just want to take the startup challenge, that's also super valuable. You can head to mydigitalfarmer.com/CSA startup. All right, today's topic is actually kind of an update, but there's a marketing lesson in here. So I have found a massage therapist. Woohoo! Yay! Now, if you have been following the show at all for a while, you know that this has been a journey for me. And I've had many, many speed bumps along the way trying to find a massage therapist, including accidentally booking a massage therapist in Oak Harbor, Washington, based on some mistake with Google search. I live in Ohio, by the way, so that's really far away. And I've been actually talking about this on the podcast every now and then because it's become a kind of case study for marketing principles at work on me. So today's episode, we're going to tie up this loose end and we're going to finish the end of this story. I'm going to share with you how it is that I actually ended up finding my perfect massage therapist and how she used a sales tactic on me that kind of got me hooked and made me want to buy. It was very effective. I think it was intentional. I didn't realize it was happening to me until after it all happened. And I want to point it out because it's really, really good. And I think there's a lesson there that we can apply in how we sell our products as well. So a very quick backstory. I have been looking for a massage therapist for like 2 years, and I got more serious about it about a year ago. The way that I was trying to find when I would ask my friends, I would ask some of my customers even, and they were giving me recommendations and I would go try them out and they were okay, but there was always something that was not quite perfect about them. Part of it is that I had a really great massage therapist back when I was in college. or high school college that my mom paid for. And she was awesome. And then I moved away. I don't live there anymore, right? So I've never really found someone that's met that bar. And I just kept looking. So either the person was too far of a drive, or it just wasn't the right amount of pressure, or it just didn't click with the personality, or they talked too much, or whatever, right? There was always something. Now, the person that I ended up finding, her name is Heidi, and she actually lives in Elmore, which is my own town. And I knew about her. She was always sort of an option, but I had dismissed her because I had heard from one person that they didn't think she was as good as so-and-so who I had tried before. And so I kind of wrote that person off. I was like, well, then I won't try Heidi. But I had heard from other people that Heidi was really good. So I finally said, well, I'll just try Heidi. And I gave her a call. She's been doing this for a very long time. So I gave her a call. Actually, I went onto the website first and tried to book it that way. But the fact that I was a brand new client, there was a barrier that came up in the process of actually booking it. And it said, well, for your first one, you have to actually call and schedule it that way. So I called the shop and got a message. She called back. We played phone tag for a while, and we finally chatted on the phone. So when I actually finally got her live, it was very interesting because I came in with this expectation that she would be like, oh, sure, let's find a day. But instead, she told me that she wasn't accepting new clients anymore, and that she actually had another LMT on her team that she could send me to instead. And I remember there was this like awkward silence because I thought in my head, oh no, I want Heidi. And I just want to pause here because it was interesting. I reflected on this later. I didn't see this happening in the moment, but there was already in my mind a decision that had been made that I'm going to use Heidi. I'm going to try Heidi. And I was not expecting this kind of a response of, someone holding up their hand and being like, nope, sorry, not available, closing the door, not an option. And this really affected me. It kind of shook me up a little bit. And so I said, I expressed my disappointment to her. I was like, oh man, I really was looking forward to trying you out. And my friend Cindy Butler, I started name dropping to try and like change her mind. And I said, I'm trying to find somebody that I can have every single month because I want to make this like a practice. I said that on purpose too, because I'm like, well, maybe she just needs to know that I'm not a once in a while kind of client, but I'm somebody that would maybe turn into a regular person and that I'm the real deal. And so we kind of talked back and forth for a little bit. And then she said, you know what? I have a cancellation next Monday, which was in like 3 days. She's like, maybe I could squeeze you in on such and such day, whatever it was, at a certain time. And I was like, yes, that would be great. I just really need one back rub, really good massage. Let's do it. And so that's kind of how we left it, that, okay, I'll let you in, but this is a special case. I don't usually do this. And I just happen to have an opening and you're helping me out because you're filling this gap. Okay, so I show up for this massage and it was awesome. It was great. It met the bar. I'm like, oh my God. And I love it. She's in my own town. I don't even have to drive that far. It's going to be really convenient. And so I like to think I was paying attention while I was on the table to being a good client. Because as she's giving me a massage, I'm like, oh, I really, really like her. How do I get her to change her mind, right? How do I get her to want to keep me as a regular client? So I was trying to be a good client. I wasn't talking a ton. Actually, I didn't say a whole lot at all. I gave her feedback a few times. I was like, oh, that's really good. I was trying to be positive and give her direction and say, yes, that's really awesome. I wasn't just silent. So she has no idea if it's actually working. And yeah, at the end, I kind of, I was paying her and she was checking me out. And I said, okay, well, you told me that you weren't available anymore, but please let me know, like, if you ever have room in your docket for a new client, like I would love to come every month. So I'd be available. And then she responded right back and she said, all right, well, are you available like in the mornings? Like, what's your schedule look like? And I said, well, yeah, I'm a farmer, so I have my availability is probably a little different than some of your other clients. So I am actually available most mornings on these certain days. And she's like, oh, well, maybe we can work this out. And so she pulls up her schedule, and all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, like, I'm booked in her schedule, and I am now, I think, kind of a regular client. And so in that moment, where she suddenly opens up her schedule, I am feeling this. There was a feeling that happened in my heart. Like, my heart felt, it's hard to, I wanted to talk about this on the show. Like, I don't know if it was an adrenaline rush, but there was this expansion in my chest. Like, I felt special. I felt special because she was basically suddenly changing her mind and letting me in, almost like I had passed. I don't know if I was being graded as a potential client or if I had said all the right things, but all of a sudden the barrier was lifted and she was no longer unavailable. She was now available. Like, I am willing to be your LMT. I had won a spot, right? I had won a permanent spot in her docket. And as I left, I thought of you guys. I thought of this show because I have used this whole massage therapy like journey as kind of a case study. I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened there? Like, what just happened there? Because formerly, when we talked on the phone, she was unavailable. And now all of a sudden she is available. So was she really unavailable? I don't think so. I have a feeling that she probably did have some spots, but that she's gotten to a point in her business, because she's been doing this for a long time. I mean, I've known that Heidi's been there for at least 10 years. She's probably gotten to a place in her business where she doesn't need a ton of new clients, right? She has her regulars enough to keep her business going. And so she's in that wonderful spot where you can be selective about who do I actually want to let in? Who do I want to become a regular client? And maybe she saw in me like, yeah, this is a good fit and we're going to make this work. So what I wanted to point out here today was that there was some psychology working on me because she became incredibly desirable as a service, as a product and service to me, the moment she told me that she was unavailable. Right? Before that, I was actually even skeptical, right? I'm the one who's shopping for massage therapists. Like, are you good enough for me? I felt like I probably had more of the power. But the minute she tells me, well, I'm not available to just everyone, now the tables turn and I feel like, oh, she's actually the one holding the cards. And it doesn't matter if I'm shopping around or what I think about her. It's actually just as important what she thinks about me, whether or not she's going to accept me as a client, right? As opposed to me thinking about, oh, am I going to accept her as my product and service? And what I want you to pull away from this today is, where in your business have you seen this principle at work, where you have some product or some service of yours has perhaps for a time period in your year become unavailable. Maybe the inventory is low or is completely out of stock for a while, and you have to tell the client, I don't have these anymore. And what does that do for the person who comes, who wants it now, who's assuming they can just get it now, who's been told about it, is excited to get it, they show up at the store, they show up at the point of sale, and now they can't get it because unbeknownst to them, it's become unavailable. And that makes your product and service suddenly even more attractive for so many reasons. But a lot of it's probably because, well, if it's sold out, that's social proof right there. So many people must love her that, like, she's got to be amazing. And so I want to see some of that amazingness. I want to be a part of that community or that group. I want to be in that CSA or whatever, right? So the power of the sold out sign, or the power of the no inventory, or the power of the wait list, or the power of not available, the power of the word limited. Oh, these spots are limited. This product is limited. This service is limited. This season is limited. This flavor is limited. So powerful. So where in your business can you put up the sold out sign or the waitlist sign or the unavailable for now, or, even in your sales conversations, letting people know, yeah, I don't have this right now. And maybe that isn't such a bad thing to have that happen from time to time. Maybe that creates scarcity, that creates urgency, so that when you do open the doors again, a couple weeks later or a couple of months later, the people who have been wanting it now rush to grab it when you want them to, because they know that it's a scarce resource and it's more valuable in their eyes because it was scarce at one point, right? So you've kind of hit two birds with one stone. This podcast is sponsored by the Thriving Farmer podcast. Today, we are starting the Farm Business Minute with Michael Kilpatrick from the Thriving Farmer podcast. For the next 8 weeks, Michael will be sharing a quick farm business tip. Let's dive in to the question of the week. All right, Michael, welcome back. Today, I want to ask you, farm store versus farmer's market. Who will win?
That's a great question. Yes. I will say that I did over 1,000 farmers markets in my first decade as a farmer. Well, our team did. I didn't personally do them. I probably did about 700, I think we calculated. And we loved farmers markets at that time. They worked really well for our business model. We were about an hour from our main markets, and so we kind of needed to. Now, the Farm on Central, we have a farm store, and we push as hard as we can to get as many people through the door of that farm store as possible. Part of it's because our seasons of life have changed. Back then, I was single or newly married, and I didn't mind being on the road late nights, early mornings. But now we have 3 kids, and the farm store, opens at 10, closes at 7, and we have a person that staffs it. So that works a lot better for us as well. Now, I'm not saying we won't go back to farmers market, but right now the farm store is working really well for us. Advantages of farmers markets is that is where the customers are. So if you're a brand new farm and you are looking for that avatar, farmers markets are where it's at. So it's great. The beautiful thing about farmers markets, if you've got a big farmers market, you can build a massive display of broccoli and typically sell right through it if you have a good market and you need to put it on sale. Because again, lots of people, short amount of time, they're all looking for that product. At the farm store, again, if we have a large amount of product, typically you can put it on sale, we'll move through it, but typically we're going to do further processing on that because we just can't quite move the volume because we're just not at that scale yet. Our farm will go ahead.
What are some of the advantages to having your customers drive out to the farm itself, though, to come to your store?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say one of the beautiful things is that our farm store is technically a private store. And so we can sell things in there that we wouldn't be able to sell at farmers markets because they are a third-party vendor. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the ways we're able to do that. But I would say the thing is we can have on-farm U-pick. We have on-farm U-pick flower field. We have all these other things which we want to bring people out. We built the Farm on Central because it's an 8-acre urban farm. We wanted people to come experience what a real farm is like. And so we have, asked them and built beautiful paths through the farm for them to walk around, see what's going on. So we're trying to educate them as well. It allows us to do, we have an on-farm slushy machine that we do strawberry slushies in the spring, cider slushies in the fall. The margin on that is phenomenal. It's just amazing. And we couldn't do that at a farmer's market. It'd be a lot more challenging. So it allows us to do a lot more, allows us to have refrigeration. So breakdown at the end of the day is 20 minutes. It's put the corn away, put this away, put that away, put it in the cooler, and you're done. Whereas a farmer's market, maybe it's an hour and a half. We as a farm literally do not own a market vehicle. Not saying that we will not buy a Sprinter van in the next 18 months because we are starting to get to the point where we need to bring in product on a little bit larger scale. But right now we still don't have that, and we're able to make it work. So again, there's a lot of advantages there. I see a lot of new businesses do farmers markets, and as they mature, they either go directly to, let's say, only CSA, or they do an on-farm market and have people come to them. So it's not one right or wrong way. It's what works for you and your farm. And
Yeah.
we were at a farmer's market Sunday morning. Because again, we're farmer's market junkies. We just went as a family, and there was just something about it. I was like, I almost kind of wanted to start going back again, because I think the
Yeah.
kids would actually really enjoy it now that they're a little bit older.
Yeah. I definitely feel like it has its place in the early stages of your
Hmm.
business development. But there might be a time when you graduate from that as an
Hmm.
enterprise. You haven't mentioned online stores. Where does that fall?
Ooh, that's great. So the biggest thing with online stores is driving the traffic to them. So if you have a good way to do that, I think every farm should have one. I mean, we technically have one with an online CSA store, and anyone can go in there and shop and check out and either pick it up here at the farm or have it delivered to one of our drop sites. So I think every farm should have that, because that's open 24/7. And as long as you have the time to keep the inventory up, it's another great way to add, additional revenue,
Yeah.
and just to showcase what you have. That's the beautiful
Yeah.
thing there, is it shows, hey, these are all the different things we have, and it gives people an idea of what they might shop if they're coming to your on-farm market or even your farmer's market.
Yeah. So if you are at the farmer's market, everyone who's listening, make sure you're collecting your emails from your
Mhm.
clients so that you can one day potentially
Graduate.
shift over.
Yeah. Because there has one of the problems with farmers market is there can frequently be a lot of drama. And again, we were in markets that had the drama. Thankfully, we never really too involved in it, never got kicked out. But I have definitely heard of vendors that for one reason or another, it was not the right fit and they ended up being kicked to the curb, and it was not fun.
Yeah, or you have a really bad spot in the market, right? You're on the
Mhm.
very outside edge and no one comes down there. You don't get the traffic, or it's raining, 20% of the time and you don't sell anything. So being able to drive people to an online store or your farm store, you have so much more control sometimes.
Yeah, and I would say people do enjoy shopping in the air conditioning compared to the 95 degrees that we're getting this week.
And there is that. Well, thanks, Michael. This was really helpful.
If you want even more farming tips like this one, make sure to check out the Thriving Farmer podcast. Every week, we connect with an interesting guest, from farmers, both new and experienced, talented artisans, or an industry expert sharing about how farmers can thrive. With over 250 episodes and 1 million downloads, there is an episode for everyone. Visit thrivingfarmerpodcast.com or search your favorite podcast app for Thriving Farmer.
That was your farm business tip of the week. Check out the Thriving Farmer podcast with Michael Kilpatrick on your favorite podcast app. And now back to the show. One of the side benefits of being sold out or creating this wait list or this urgency scarcity piece is that you also have the opportunity to screen out people. And one day as a business owner, you will be in that lovely position where you have kind of quote unquote enough clients that you probably could just maintain that number and be okay with your revenue and be happy with it. And you're in this beautiful position where you can say no to customers. That's such an awesome place to be, where you can really only take the people that you most want to work with. That isn't the case when you first start your business, but you eventually get there. And if you're in that place right now where maybe you can transition to that point, don't be afraid to step over into that space to say, you know what, who do I really want to work with? Who are the types of clients that are really great clients? Who are the ones that love my stuff no matter what? Who are the ones that talk me up to their friends? Who are the ones that spend a lot, like have a big average order value? Who are the ones who never complain about the price? Who are the ones who don't blink an eye when I post this particular price for my product? And then who are the ones who do the opposite, right? And maybe you are in a position now where you have the ability to weed some of those out and to say, you know what, I don't take just everyone. You know what, I'm sold out of that product right now. Today's challenge, or this week's challenge for you, is to take this story in and look at something in your product suite and say, can I limit that in some way? Can I limit the number? Can I sell it for a limited time? Could I let it sell out, even if it's not really sold out? Could I take it off the market, take it off the inventory for a while, put up the sold out sign, collect a wait list, create a bunch of scarcity and urgency, and then release it 4 weeks later, 8 weeks later, still sell it, get the price I want because I've created this perception of value. My friends, maybe it's okay to be unavailable every now and then. What would that do to the value of your products, the perception of value of your products. I'm telling you, man, when she told me that, oh, I don't accept clients anymore, I got a little anxious in my chest. And the minute that she changed her mind, not only was I just glad that I had a massage coming up, I felt special. There was something else going on in my emotions that I can't quite explain. And that is one of the side benefits that comes from this. So look for something that you can limit on purpose and think strategically about when's the best time to use that strategy so that you can drive sales when you want. I hope this was helpful today. Hey, there's a really good podcast episode that I did a long time ago, episode 67, that is relevant to this conversation. It was called The 4 Limiteds, and it's 4 different ways that you can limit something in your product suite that kind of gets at what we're talking about today. So I encourage you to go check that one out if you've never listened to it before. Today's show notes can be found at mydigitalfarmer.com/238. If you liked today's episode, would you please share the podcast with a friend? Like swipe that URL listing for this episode and send it, text it to a friend and say, you've got to listen to this show. I really like it. I'm trying to get as many farmers as possible to know that I exist. If you could help me do that, I would so appreciate it. And don't forget, if you want to get onto my email list, I have some really great marketing tips to send into your inbox for like 3 months. It's going to be so good. I get so much good feedback. And you can do that by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. I'm also on Instagram at mydigitalfarmer. I'm trying to do more reels. I'm very busy, but I'm definitely on Instagram stories quite a bit. And I love just sharing random tips as they come to me to help farmers out. So you can go follow me there at mydigitalfarmer. Thanks for joining me today. You guys have a great week, and I will catch you next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.